Okay, good morning, everyone. So let's start with the special senses. So we all know that as human beings, okay, we are very responsive creatures, right? So when you hold a freshly baked bread, okay, what would happen? Your mouth water, right? So if you hear a sudden clap of thunder, what will be your reaction? You will probably jump, right? So we consider these two things, so the bread and the thunderclap, as irritants, okay? And many others are the stimuli, so they are considered as stimuli that continually greet us and are interpreted by our nervous system. We are usually told that we have five senses, right? So from the early beginnings of our childhood education, they've been telling us that we have five senses that keep us in touch with what is going on in the external world. So that is the touch, the taste, the smell, the sight, and the hearing. So actually, touch is a mixture of general senses. We have talked about that in our previous chapter in the integumentary system. The temperature, pressure, and pain receptors of the skin, and the proprioceptors of the muscles and the joints. So there are other four traditional senses. We're talking about smell, taste, sight, and hearing, and we actually call them as special senses. So we have receptors for the fifth special sense we know or we call equilibrium, which are housed in our ear along the organ of hearing. So let's talk about special senses this time. By the way, so my presentation is from the presentation is courtesy of Patty Bostwick Taylor, Florence Darlington Technical College, courtesy of Pearson Education Incorporated. Okay, so let's proceed. So the special senses, as I have mentioned a while ago, we have smell, taste, sight, hearing, and equilibrium. So the equilibrium are housed in the ear along the organ of hearing. So the special sense receptors are characterized as large, complex sensory organs, which are localized clusters of receptors. Okay, so let's start with the eye and vision. So the adult eye is actually a sphere that measures about 2.5 centimeter in diameter. 70% of all sensory receptors are in our eyes. So ganon karami. So it will each eye, just one eye would have over 1 million nerve fibers carrying information to the brain. So there are accessory structures that are included or found in our eye. So we have to identify ano yung mga structures na to. We have the extrinsic eye muscles, the eyelids, the conjunctiva, and the lacrimal apparatus. Okay, so this is an illustration of the surface anatomy of the eye, indicating the different accessory structures which I made mention a while ago. So we start with your eyelids. So nasaan po ang inyong eyelids? Anteriorly, our eyes are protected by our eyelids, okay, which meet at the medial and lateral corners of the eye. The medial and lateral commissure, or otherwise known as canthus. Okay, so the space between the eyelids in an open area called palpebral fissure. Okay, so what protects it from the border of each eyelid are our eyelashes. So eyelashes, huh? So within the eyelashes are modified sebaceous glands associated with eyelid edges, which are known as tarsal glands. So ano yung function ng tarsal glands na to? They produce oily secretion that lubricates the eye. Okay. Also within that are the ciliary glands, which are located between the eyelashes. These are modified sweat glands. Okay, ciliary glands. So a delicate membrane, which we call conjunctiva, lines the eyelids and covers part of the outer surface of the eyeball. It ends at the edge of the cornea by fusing with the corneal epithelium. The conjunctiva rather secretes mucus to lubricate the eye and keep it moist. So that's the function of the mucus being secreted. So there are conditions wherein the conjunctiva reddened or because of irritated eyes, diba? Ang tawag natin doon conjunctivitis. Okay? Otherwise, if it is caused by bacteria or virus which could be transmitted or which could be highly contagious, ang tawag natin sa kanya pink eye. Okay, infection yun ng conjunctiva. The lacrimal apparatus is composed or consists of the lacrimal gland and a number of ducts that drain the lacrimal secretions into the nasal cavity. So, unahin natin yung lacrimal gland. The lacrimal glands are actually located above the lateral end of the eye, and they continually release dilute salt solution, we call it commonly as tears, onto the anterior surface of the eyeball through several small ducts. Okay? The tears will be responsible for flushing across the eyeball into the lacrimal canaliculi medially, then onto the lacrimal sac, and finally into the nasal lacrimal duct, which empties into the nasal cavities. I repeat, tears drain across the eye to the lacrimal canaliculi, papunta dun sa lacrimal sac natin, eventually into the nasolacrimal duct, and it empties into the nasal cavity. Kaya nga pag umiiyak ka, lumalabas din yan sa area ng nose mo. Okay? So ano yung component ng tears? Ano ba yung lasa ng tears? Okay? Pag nalasahan nyo na yung tears. Lacrimal secretion, okay, actually contains dilute salt solution. Kaya maalat-alat yan pag tinikman mo. Also, it contains mucus, antibodies, and lysozyme. Okay, lysozyme is an enzyme that destroys bacteria. So it protects the eye in that sense. Okay, ano yung function ng tears natin? It cleanses, nililinis niya yung mata. Protects the eye surface as it moisten and lubricate. Okay? So, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, napapansin natin kapag nag-i-increase yung lacrimal secretion natin, okay, yung tears natin nag-i-spill over sa ating eyelids, pinupuno niya yung nasal cavities, kaya nga ag-ibit ka, narigat ka pa nga makaangas kasi mapno jay agong mo, magkakaroon ng congestion. Okay? So in cases, what else? If you have emotional tears, right? Or there is an eye irritant. Okay? So yung mga yun yung sinasabi ko. Okay, so this illustration actually depicts the location of our lacrimal gland. And then this one, okay, still illustrates the lacrimal gland and the flow of what we call tears kanina. Bakit niya napupuno? Okay, yung lacrimal secretion natin kapag nag-increase, bakit nagkakos siya ng nasal congestion? So it is being explained in this particular illustration. So we talked about the extrinsic eye muscles. There are actually 6 extrinsic eye muscles, or what we call external eye muscles, that are attached to the outer surface of the eye. Okay, these muscles would be producing gross eye movements and make it possible for the eyes to follow a moving object. So you try right now. Okay? O, tingnan nyo. May gumalaw sa harap. Okay? Sundan nyo yon. So, tingnan nyo. Take a look at what happened. Okay? So, there. So this particular illustration shows the extrinsic muscles of the eye. The names, locations, actions, and cranial nerve serving each eye of each of the extrinsic muscles are particularly given. Okay, they're still on the extrinsic eye muscles. So I'm talking about 6 muscles: the lateral rectus, medial, superior rectus, inferior rectus. Then we have the inferior oblique and the superior oblique, which in turn would be controlling a particular movement of the eye. So as indicated in the figure or the table presented. Okay, so we start with the internal structures. Okay, first on the list is the eyeball. Actually, the eye itself, okay, commonly, okay, pag layman, ang tawag natin dyan, eyeball. So, hollow sphere yan. Okay, yung layer niya, the wall is actually composed of 3 layers. Okay, we have the fibrous layer, that's the outer. Okay, vascular, that's the middle, and the sensory layer, which is the inside layer. So the humors, so it is the inferior rather of the eyeball is filled with fluids, which we call humors. Okay, the lens, which is the main focusing apparatus of the eye, is supported upright within the eye cavity, dividing it into 2 chambers. So it is being divided into 2 chambers. So there, this is the internal anatomy of the eye, showing the structures that was mentioned a while ago. Okay, there, another closer. So as we have said a while ago, the fibrous layer, okay, which is the outermost layer, okay, consists of the protective sclera and the transparent cornea. Okay, fibrous layer equals sclera plus cornea. Okay, yung sclera na to is actually a thick, glistening, white connective tissue which is seen anteriorly as the white of the eye. Okay, yun yung itsura niya, white of the eye. The central anterior portion of the fibrous layer is crystal clear. Okay, this window is the cornea through which light enters the eye. Okay, the cornea is well supplied with nerve endings. So it is made mention there, it allows for light to pass through. So dahil well supplied siya sa nerve endings, it is able to repair itself easily. Okay. So most are pain fibers, and when the cornea is touched, blinking and increased tearing occur. Okay, so it is very vulnerable to damage, but good thing is that it is able to repair itself easily. Okay, extraordinary yon na function niya. Diba? Take note that cornea is the only human tissue that can be transplanted from one person to another without the worry of rejection. Why? Because there are no blood vessels, okay, within that area, and it is beyond the reach of our immune system. Therefore, wala tayong problema sa possible tissue rejection. Okay? The vascular layer is the middle layer of the eyeball. So the choroid, the most posterior is the choroid, which is a blood-rich nutritive tunic that contains a dark pigment. Okay, the pigment prevents light from scattering inside the eye. Moving anteriorly, the choroid is modified to form 2 smooth muscle structures. As indicated there, we have the ciliary body, to which the lens is attached by a suspensory ligament called ciliary zonule, and the iris. Okay, the iris is responsible for regulating the amount of light entering the eye. Okay, and then it is a pigmented layer responsible for providing eye color. And within that area, it has a rounded opening rather known as pupil, through which light passes. Okay, through which light passes. Okay, and then we also have the sensory layer, which is the innermost, okay, layer of the eye, which is a delicate two-layered retina, which extends anteriorly only to the ciliary body. Okay, the outer pigmented layer is responsible for absorbing lights and prevents it from scattering. Additionally, okay, there are cells that act as phagocytes, removing dead or damaged receptor cells. And then the inner neural layer of the retina would contain millions of receptor cells, okay, the rods, which are called photoreceptors because they respond to light. Okay, electrical signals passed from, and the cones rather, and the cones. Okay, so the electrical signals passed from the photoreceptors via a two-neuron chain, the bipolar cells and the ganglion cells. Okay, still on the sensory layer. Electrical signals, as I have said, would pass from photoreceptors via two neurons, the bipolar and the ganglion cells. Signals would leave the retina, okay, toward the brain through our optic nerve. But we have this site known as optic disc or blind spot. Okay, it is where the optic nerve leaves the eyeball, meaning you cannot see images focused on the optic disc. Okay, you cannot see images focused on the optic disc. So I'm showing you the pigmented layer of the retina and the location of the rods and the cones. Okay, including the bipolar cells and the ganglion cells following the pathway of light. Okay, so this is again another illustration. So we talk about the sensory layer of the eyeball, the rods, which is the most common, which are found toward the edges of the retina, allowing vision in dim light and peripheral vision. All perception is in gray tones. So pag yun yung nagamit. And then the cons would be allowing for detailed color visions. Nagkakaroon ng kulay yung nakikita natin. And it is densest in the central of the retina. And then within that area, lateral to each blind spot is the fovea centralis. Okay, this is a tiny pit that contains only cones. Okay, this is the area of greatest visual acuity. Okay, or point of sharpest vision. Okay, anything we wish to view critically is focused on the fovea centralis. So take note that within this, there are no photoreceptor cells that are at the optic disc or blind spot. Okay, so there.